What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the XCFL Network. We have a brand new show coming to you. We are running this first take style. It is going to be called the Van and Brian Show, the V&B Show. Van, what's going on, buddy?
How's it going, dude?
You know, just a little XCFL fun. First season's in the books. Brian, what's going on, my man? How are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. Excited to get this thing going.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of been talking about this for a week here. We've seen a lot of new shows and podcasts kind of pop up around the XCFL, and we're going to add one more to the mix. This one is going to be a little like 6-pack of questions, debate style. It'll be a little bit shorter than some of the other shows, just kind of, give you guys a little extra content. We'll run through our 6 topics, get both these guys' opinions, maybe a little back and forth debate. I'll chime in when needed as well, and we'll kind of stir up some drama around the league and hopefully entertain everybody a little bit. Okay, sound good, fellas?
Oh, a little quick in and out. Yeah, sounds good, man.
Get people talking.
Yeah. First off, what'd you guys think about the playoffs and the Super Bowl? What you expected, or?
No.
No, me neither.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect Smokes to be there. I didn't expect Diesel to be there. Not taking anything away from those guys, but the rosters that those guys have, the QBs that those guys have, I just didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, what about you, Brian? I mean, you were in there as well. Tough.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I going into it, I thought I had a really good shot. I thought it was really deep. I'm shocked by the results, honestly. I was thinking Jack, I was thinking you, Nick. But, it was cool to see the new guys. Obviously, there was some stuff that happened, but, the final result wasn't what I was expecting with how good that AFC was and where Wings' team was at. So kind of shocked by how it ended. But it was a good playoff start. I love the new format with the extra team. I think it makes it more interesting. I think the races were really fun. So I definitely like where it's at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like the extra team.
The wild card, yeah, it might slow the playoffs down a little bit, but the wild card, and then only one first round bye is huge as well. I mean, it really, you saw the road Wings as the 2 seed had to go through. He had to play Tosh, then Kylo. It could have been, then it could have been me. It could have literally been, but then he ended, it's crazy what if you don't have the 1 seed, what can happen. But let's go ahead and get into our first question here. So it's going to be the most outstanding player. We haven't got the ballot out yet because I'm waiting on my computer to kind of get back here. So we don't have that yet. But we'll let you guys kind of who is your most outstanding player for this first season? Without any of the Madden Gen people in there, we don't really, it's all real guys. So Brian, let's start with you. Who's your guy this season that kind of stuck out?
So I put a lot of thought into this, and MOP is always tough for me. Like I look at everything. I look at the user. I look at, in my opinion at least, I look at a bunch of different things, how they play the game, whatever. And it kind of hurts me to do this. But I think it's got to be Jack and Bronson Rechsteiner or whatever his name is. Because, if you put up that kind of numbers with somebody that overall, it's very impressive. And I played Jack, and honestly, I had no qualms with the way he used Rechsteiner. I didn't think it was it was cheesy or cheap or anything like that. He just he ran a solid offense that Rechsteiner was the focal point of. So I don't think it's even close in my opinion. I think it has to go to Rechsteiner, but there were some quarterbacks that put up big numbers. In the end though, Rechsteiner 100%, and it should be all 3 votes in my opinion.
Just the fact alone that nobody even saw this dude in free agency, and Jack grabs a fullback in the draft, and he comes up with 82 catches, 1,600 yards, and 23 touchdowns. You'd think it'd be easier to stop if in the red zone it's going to this guy. With the next closest guy in his team only had 7 touchdowns. So, but it's still not. Jack has a nice scheme designed for him. Van, what about you, man?
Well, I think the 3 players that I have are users that take the position and use them to their fullest. Just so the tight end from Jack, obviously the guy can use that position. He can build that position. My other 2, I'll go 1A and 1B here. I'll cheat a bit, but Marcus Mariota. I mean, I don't know who the fuck saw that coming.
Everybody?
No, not me. No way. I thought he bit off way more than he could chew there. Honestly, I don't care who it was. I thought no way that he could do that. And then just watching the way that he learned how to use that guy, I mean, I would love to learn how to use a crappy quarterback like that. I mean, that's unbelievable. So I got to give my hats off there. And then Kenyon Drake. Obviously, same kind of thing. You know, you could give pride to anybody, and I think that he's going to run for 2K. Yeah, same with Mariota, but I got to take my hats off to Mariota and Drake there.
So no mention of Recksteiner. I think it might be a little Van has a grudge against Jack from last cycle, I think.
Yeah.
He's still holding it against him. With the Mariota thing, and this isn't really a dig at Kyler, just the way he plays the game. You know, it's very safe. It's not a lot of downfield stuff. And I think that's kind of like how you have to play with quarterbacks this cycle, with how good DBs react. So like I kind of didn't put as much thought into a quarterback, any of the quarterbacks that had really good years, Burrow, whatever, whoever it is. I just didn't put as much thought into it because, in my opinion, it was easier. And that's my thought on it. But the numbers were insane. And
what was your excuse for your quarterback?
I tried to throw the ball way too much down the field. That's I'm gonna go with that as my excuse.
Okay, all right,
dude. The interception numbers. I mean, even Herbert, I threw 51 touchdowns to 20 picks. Burrow threw 22 picks. Mariota 17. I mean, it was with DBs actually reacting. We were getting punished, and then not only the reactions, but then like the tips. Still, you were still getting the tipped up INTs and. I'm wondering
the thrown out of sack INT.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm wondering if we adjust to it.
I think Allen had a baker's dozen in the final there.
Dude, but I mean, Darnold and Wentz, 46 picks and 45 picks.
Okay.
I mean that's
Well, I was gonna go. Wentz was my number 3.
Wentz MVP. For other teams.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be in that. Like if Jack. Like he develops cornerbacks enough without getting 30 to him.
Grizz started to figure it out though, because Wentz started out with a shit ton, and Grizz was able to bring that number, not bring it down, but he was able. You got to check down if it's not open deep, you can't just chuck it up, especially with the throw power kind of hurting you. If you don't have if you can't throw it far enough, it's gonna it's a duck, and the DBs are waiting for it. So interesting take there though.
Yeah, Grizz is underrated, honestly. I don't know, like every time the guy plays me, he plays awesome. So
here's my other question. You guys all went offense with the MLP. Are you taking away from the DBs at these double-digit interception numbers because it was so easy to get interceptions?
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean,
I think my, Darnell Savage had 14, and I did shit to get there.
14?
I don't think it was just too easy. It was too easy for the.
Yeah. It's like the XFactor defensive ends back from last cycle.
Then this is definitely the XCFL's lowest sack total we've ever had.
We're gonna get to that for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but without the AI pressure, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But okay, let's go ahead and move on there. Great debates from everybody, but number 2. So now we're going to kind of go away from our franchise mode, but Madden 20 last cycle versus Madden 21. So far, I know we've only played one season compared to our 14 last cycle. Where do we stand in which one do you guys like better? What do you like from each one? Fan, let's start with you this time. Go for it.
Sure. Well, I mean, I loved Madden 20 because of a few things, but there was obviously some glaring errors that held it back like crazy. Now, Madden 21, I think, had addressed a few of those things, and they went under the radar where they didn't really promote it. They didn't say, hey, we fixed DB reaction. The balls don't sail over the heads like they used to. And they I don't know who their PR guy is, but they definitely could have said that. And the CFM people would have been, quite happy with that little breadcrumb. But so I'll say right now, the number one thing is DB reaction, safeties and corners breaking on the balls and actually making realistic plays that we didn't have in Madden. And I mean, how many times did we watch a ball go over one of our DB's heads for a game winning touchdown that really sucked? So I'm going to say right off the top, DB reaction. Number 2 is going to have to be one little hidden thing that I love. I think they've really beefed up the draft classes. And I think at the end of last cycle, what happened is we really ran out of players. For shitty team builders like myself, we definitely ran out of players. But these draft classes are going to be more. I think draft picks mean more. I think the players are going to be more rewarding. I've seen overalls from 70 to 79. I've seen a couple 80s. So I think that's something nobody's talking about either. So those two things, and the third thing would be punishment for missing on a hit stick. I love the fact that you can jump out with your running back and a guy hits you early and you can just move and he's gone out of the way. No suck tackle and you're gone. I love that part too.
So then real quick before we get to Brian, are you Madden 21 an improvement over Madden 20 or what?
Oh yeah. I think Madden 21 is just obviously an addition on to Madden 20 with gameplay. It didn't feel very different to me at all. I remember when I played the demo, it didn't take me any time to learn the passing game. It usually takes me a few games. I think it's just an absolute add-on to that, and they've just fixed a few of the things that was screwed up in the Madden 20.
All right, let's go to Brian then. Brian, what about you?
Here's what I think. I think that the defensive back stuff is awesome because they play much, much more realistic. In a sense where, a cover 2 corner is going to be able to take away a corner route. He's going to be able to, tackle a flat route for, an 8-yard gain. The hook curl guys play much more realistic. You can set it. Like Van, I think that's incredible. I do have a little bit of a qualm, and I don't know because I was talking with my buddies today if it's a valid qualm or not. But
you don't have buddies.
Yeah. So my fake friends that I was talking with today, and we were saying like how much Teddy Bridgewater checked down the other day, Carson Wentz, like nobody's throwing the football down the field anymore, and you're seeing that more and more in our gameplay, I think, and. I kind of did, I guess I don't like it, but I believe it's more realistic. Like I get Curtis Samuel one-on-one against a defensive back on a skinny post or whatever it may be. If that defensive back is better, he's going to cover. And, I think it's a good thing. I think it's realistic. It's hurt me a little bit in the way I play because I was kind of trained into the speed thing, but I think they've done a much better job of making like the actual, hey, this guy's better. He's going to be able to cover somebody. Speed isn't everything. It's still something. But I felt like it played like more like 19.
I would agree.
Yeah, which I liked. But then I'll be honest, after this latest patch, I got it. Just the game felt different to me. I don't know if it, what it is, and I haven't figured it out yet. I wish I could, but it just felt different after this latest patch, and I don't know if that's more of a revert back to 20 in some styles, in some senses, but something's different. And I think it's going to change as we go on here for the next couple months as they figure it out themselves because they released this game completely not ready to go, and they even admit to that. So, we're going to see it change, but like I like where it started. I just hope they don't try to appease the masses and make it, less realistic as we go forward because people get upset.
For me, like you said, with this last patch, I think it was the one right before like week 16 or something where for our franchise, everything got like, I don't want to say clunky, but it felt like it slowed down or something to me where I wasn't lagging, but it kind of felt like I was lagging a little bit or gameplay was slower for me. And I did not like it because I kind of got used to it and kind of got on a roll. And then I don't know, it was weird, but I completely agree about the checkdowns. We're seeing an insane amount of catches for running backs, but it's either take the sack, or to throw out of a sack animation, which could result in a pick, or check down to your running back. Which I mean, if you get a running back one-on-one with some of these linebackers, they should beat them. Like a Christian McCaffrey or Eckler. That's realistic, and I like seeing that. So I think it'll help people with the 32 percentage as well. We only had one or two guys over that, so I think it's gonna be interesting. The one thing I really like, and I actually heard Grizz mention it during the broadcast, I really like the reach out for the first down or the goal line animation.
Yeah, I love that.
Sometimes though they reach out just so unrealistically in like traffic, and I don't know. But it's a really cool ad because there's nothing more frustrating than your guy going down, a step before the first down, and in real life he would just stick the ball and get the first down. So I really like that.
I think it's helped those first downs when you were obviously, you got the first down, and then
there were so many of those that it's like fourth and inches, and especially in our league where you can't really go for it. Like
certain
the
rules,
ability the ability for them to reach forward. it's awesome. Like when you're on the wrong side of it, okay, it can suck, but like at least it's realistic, and I can't be mad about the fact that, hey, like a guy's going to reach for a first down.
My only hope is that something plays a role in that. Like I want a guy with high awareness or something like that to have more an advantage reaching out or something like that in certain situations, I guess. I don't know.
You may be asking for too much there.
I know, that's very true. But I am happy about the DBs reacting, even though, I think it's going to take people a little while to adjust. But when we do kind of adjust, I think we'll see those interception numbers come down.
I hope so.
Because the Savage lead league with 14 interceptions is nuts.
Dude, I haven't figured it out yet, honestly. Because I like to, at least when I play, I try to see what the person's in, try to make a somewhat realistic read, because usually that will work. But there's just been a lot of times, even against zone coverage, where guys make crazy plays. Like I run a vertical with number 2 against cover 3, and I expect to be able to hit that. And, I get picked off, whatever it is. So it for sure has been frustrating, and I think guys will start to tweak their gameplay to that. And some people already have, and you saw that result in the playoffs.
Yeah, it is nice to see the completion percentages down, though. We're not seeing anybody high 70s, high 80s, which is good, because you'd expect that with all the checkdowns. But you're really, the highest I think is like Jameis was at 71, Mariota 69, Herbert 67.
It's impossible just because DBs play so much better. I don't think you won't see Kylo type 89%. No, stupid numbers again. But I did notice after the patch, I played Jack, I played Jameis Winston, and they put up some pretty good games, 12 for 15, some wild stuff. So who knows? They just keep changing it.
When people start to figure it out, it happens every cycle. Guys figure out what plays work. Guys figure out what and it's frustrating, but we all have the same ability to figure out the same plays or watch what people do and copy it, and it's interesting. It'll be fun to watch as we go, but
don't give anybody my style.
Patches. Jack doesn't download patches. He just used the original version.
Steeler Dig is mine. No one else use Steeler Dig, please. I'm keeping that one.
I basically bred my gameplay off of your stuff.
Well, you did, and then it didn't help being in a division with Tosh when he was figuring out the XCFL, because then all of a sudden he was stealing my playbook and then figured out plays himself, and then Wings kind of did it too last cycle, and he had a mix with me and Kylo. But it's fun though, because it's a copycat league. It really is. You see people do stuff and you're like, wow, that play's sweet. How do I fix my custom playbook so I can add that one in there? And it's fun though. Okay, let's move on. So are we in agreement though? Do we like Madden 21 better than 20 so far?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. There's no way I could say I don't 100% like it better.
Yeah, it's definitely
too. Yeah. And we played a whole lot of 20 and did not have a lot of time between. So we did a good job though. I think everyone's still fresh relatively, not as frustrated as some leagues would be if they didn't have a break. So shout out to our users. But
yeah, we got the best. That's
so sticking on the Madden 20 versus Madden 21 topic here, kind of. Question number 3. We started Madden 20 with XFactors on. We kind of saw how that went with some insane record-breaking seasons and different things like that. This game, we're hearing XFactors are toned down a little bit. Are you guys in favor of XFactors on or XFactors off? Brian, let's start with you.
I'm 100%. It's not even close for me. XFactors off, and my reasoning behind this is, and I've heard they've toned down too. I've watched some things, they're clearly not as bad as they were, but the ability to abuse the X factors were just so great. And I remember the one debate going, last cycle, it was Aaron Rodgers couldn't throw an interception when he got on fire. That's just unrealistic. That's not a thing. So don't give me these arcade. I want it as close to realistic as possible. And I don't even want to use the word sim because I feel I reckon I don't know what to think there, but I want I just want realistic, and they giving us these crazy things that just don't make any sense in my opinion. The Super Juke was one of them. That was just absurd, over the top. So I'm always going to be in favor for them off unless they can limit them significantly, where there's 10 X factors in the league and the X factor isn't completely game changing every single game in every moment, and it's once every couple games maybe you get on fire and you're able to do something cool.
Yeah, Van. I know you were against them last year, and then against them at the start of this cycle. But then towards the start of the season, you kind of jumped on the train of if we could find a way to limit them, you wanted them on. So where do you stand now? Now that we're kind of into it.
Yeah, and I hate to do this, but I totally agree with Brian.
Say it again, a little louder, please.
For the people in the back.
The thing is I'm also about parity, and I think the reason why my favorite seasons are the first two is because everyone's on a level playing field, and they're the best ones. What happens is when you get these X factors, it just separates guys who know how to build better than other guys, and it takes playing off the table. So I'm totally against that when a guy has 9 or 10 X factors and then another guy has none, but they're both equal users. That's arcade. And lighting on fire is just not something that I'm going to support.
My biggest thing was if I had a 92 overall cornerback that was star dev, say he didn't have any abilities, but he's a 92 overall. You have a rookie 75 overall wide receiver, superstar dev who unlocks some, last cycle, post elite ability, whatever it was. And my guy is clearly better than yours, but because your guy has the ability, all of a sudden his route running's trash. He's a rookie. All of a sudden he just shoots 15 yards ahead and my DB stands still for a couple seconds and then starts running after him.
It makes your guy worse.
Yeah, why should an ability make my actually good player be worse than your player? So I think the route running ones, I've heard the route running ones this cycle are still terrible. And I don't like the idea if you have a guy who is an out specialist, if you're moving him to an out every time you have an out route, it kind of sucks, because then he's getting huge separation every single time. Or you could move players into the route that best suited their ability, which it's common sense, but in real life, just because somebody's good at running a go route or running a post route, they're not going to be wide open every single time they run one of those routes. DBs adjust and make plays, and those are the ones that really frustrated me. And then the coverage ones, the man coverage ones, they would just glue on your receiver, and no matter what happened, it just, I don't know.
And let's be honest, they made them for MUT.
And
that's what they did. They did.
Wait, and for mute, did you say mute team? Like MUTE?
Mutt. There you go.
So we got to get Diesel on. He'll
oh God.
When Van was asking me about Diesel when he first joined the league, and Van's like, "What's about him?" And I messaged Van. I was like, "Dude, he's like the 15th ranked player in the world in Mutt. Like he's like legit. Has like all these cards." And Van was like, "Oh fuck, really, dude? Why'd you add him?" And I was completely kidding. And then the first stream that pops up is like Diesel playing Mutt or something, and Van goes. I was like, I was kidding.
Actually, incredible.
Yeah, dude. No, go on his Twitch. Check his hours out.
Van's been scouting.
Van clearly, he got 2 wins, so he's clearly
there you go.
Yeah, I know. He's got a quarterback issue, and he's picking real late.
I think the biggest issue with X Factors, though, going back to it, is having them tied to development, where if you could somehow separate that, where guys could dev, and then we could limit, we could even limit X factors or different things like that. We could say, okay, you can pick out of your 4, you can pick 3 of them that are active this season or something. But having it tied to dev prevents us from doing that, because then we're lowering all your guys down to star dev, and we got a bunch of normal and star devs who don't progress, and then they regress faster, and it really just. Because that was a real problem. Oversaturation of the abilities. Where 32 running backs. Yeah, 32 running backs was super juke. I mean, it wasn't even like a special thing anymore. So
no.
Christian McCaffrey didn't have super juke. Think about that.
But that's also the issue. You draft a player, he puts up a huge season, and then you throw him away because he gets super spin or because he doesn't. He gets hurdle, and you're like, well, now he's trash. He doesn't have super juke, and then you're dealing him off or cutting him because he didn't get one ability. And that sucks.
It changed the way the game was played, and that was like, that's just too much. That we don't want to change it.
While dev upgrades are still important, I think they're not. If you don't hit your scenario, it's not the end of the world, because you aren't fighting for abilities and extra progression. I think people went extra hard to make sure they get their ability. And now it's like, okay, if I get it, whatever. If I don't, there's still a way to upgrade them at the end of the season or something like that. So.
Mitigated. It's mitigated at least.
And with all the games and different things we have involved here, you can find an upgrade all over the place. Like if you win one of we have like 4 or 5 different things you can win. So, But no, I think, yeah, interesting. So I think we're all kind of off is kind of the way to go until they figure it out. But
yeah.
All right,
well, the thing is, honestly, when you play somebody or you have an upgrade, I hate the distraction.
Yeah.
Oh God,
yeah.
That's all you're focused on.
Yeah.
And you end up losing.
Worst.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
the guy ends up with 15 catches, and the other guy, you have 17 completions, and 15 are the one guy, and like it just. But you had to do it because it was so important to the 22-year-old or 23-year-old player. Just it's a bummer, but
so
I think
that alone
I think
is the reason why
they did improve, but they still have a little ways to go, and I would like to see it more like the 2K badge style type thing, I guess. Even
and I feel like it's such a slippery slope. Like they just gotta figure out something different. Like we don't need this archaic system that basically they have. I mean, they've been using it since Madden 96. Like, come on, we can find a better way that isn't.
It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard.
And they're like, we revamped abilities. Okay, you changed post elite to deep middle specialist. Like it's like what? Come on,
just named it. Fuck off. We're not that stupid. Come on.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on here to number 4 of our 6-pack questions. So this one's interesting, and I think we're kind of split down the middle with how the rest of the league feels about it. I know when people first join our league and they see the approved trades channel, sometimes it shocks them to see these big names getting moved around. So the XCFL trade culture, do you guys enjoy seeing the big names and the first-round picks and everything being moved around like crazy, or would you rather see it be more realistic, the quote-unquote sim where – I mean, where do you stand at that, Brian? Let's start with you here.
Here's my opinion on it, and it really comes down to I love the way that we have the freedom to build the team how we want. And this is going to sound a little harsh, but I think some people just are not good at it, and they make decisions that are very poor. And I'm not going to call anybody out specifically, but like we end up with it's the same song and dance every single season where the same guys get the same type of players because they're able to convince people that aren't aware or maybe just whatever to do deals that aren't good for them. And if we I don't think I love that the trade committee lets people make the deals they want to make. I think that's in the spirit of the league. I just think that it's like with anything, like you let people do shit, whatever they wanted, they're going to do dumb shit. And that's kind of what happens. And, I'd love to see people make a little more smart decisions, but hey, I've made decisions people might think are dumb at times. So I guess it's all relative. But I guess the answer is yes. I do love the way, our trade culture. I would like to see people do things a little differently.
Real quick, Van, before we go to you, I think the biggest thing with what Brian's going with, when the better users know they can still win and compete with crappier players, so they can deal off those veteran 99 overall players and start a 70 overall player, but they can bring back a ton of picks and young players for them. It creates, I don't want to say an imbalance, because obviously the worst user is getting the better player, but for some people, does a 73 overall quarterback and a 95 overall quarterback make a difference? Are they still going to throw 36 interceptions? Are they so it's interesting there. Van, what about you? You're an old guy.
I'm not going to be as polite as Brian. But,
oh boy!
Wow. I thought I was harsh.
Yeah. Van's going to call names out. Here you go.
I can't wait.
So what I want to talk about right now is I want to name a few examples. And the thing is, it's always the fringe guys. It's always the guys who are not nailed down to the commitment. They're not that active, and they just see Jack float a first rounder off, or a vet off, and the guy's like, ooh, 85 overall defensive tackle. I'm going to be picking late. I'm sending him my first. Yeah, okay. The guy led the league in sacks. He's 27, star dev. He's going to be out of the league in free agency in a year, and the guy just gave up his first round pick in these massive deep draft classes. And Jack's sitting there. And he's sitting there now with 2. So he's going to either draft 2 cornerbacks, or he's going to trade the 2 and move up to draft the big 6'3" guy that runs a 4.2 flat. And all we're doing is putting bullets in that fucking guy's gun. I don't. Yeah. So I got a problem with that. Yeah.
So, but what about when it works in your favor though? Like if you were the one,
I can't trade well enough to have one in my favor. I've never made a trade, in my favor.
I will say, out of everybody last cycle, Jack had the most trades declined. The ones he sent into the committee, they didn't even make it to the committee.
Okay.
They made it to my DMs, and I was like, "Come on, dude." I was really
let's talk about the Cincinnati trade that he got number 1 overall with.
I'd pay to hear those, by the way.
Is a future first in a year where, like Van said, draft classes were not as good. There was still value towards the top, but Hawkeye was here long enough where we had to let him build his own team, and it was a future first. Which, did we think it was going to be top 10? Yeah,
I don't know.
But it was a young superstar player. The vote was close. I mean, we have six.
I don't know if he was young. He was 26.
He was 24-ish.
No, he wasn't.
Because Jack waited till the contract was up.
Now, okay, next week we're pulling up that trade and we're talking.
I will say though.
Oh yeah.
Jack gave up.
Because it wasn't 24.
Jack gave up more to get that guy from Boone though, the year before.
You know as well as I do, the whole league was up in arms.
For sure. Every time I type a Redskins trade in the approved trade channel, I'm already nervous for what main chat's going to say.
Here's the deal: any trade with Jack's going to end up being like that.
People get mad. Yeah.
He's better than who he's trading with, and usually, and like Van's saying, it's the guys who aren't as good who are doing it, and they just don't know, or they just don't give a shit. I don't know what it is, but it sucks for guys like Van, who's in his division, guys that we're trying to compete against him, that you're handing him these players when we all know how that trade's going to work out.
And it's not even, I mean, we're focused on Jack because that's the one that makes people the most mad. But I mean, I'll say I've made trades where people are pissed. I think I grabbed a couple of Rob's first last cycle, and everyone's like, "Really, Rob? You're doing this again?"
Yeah, but dude, honestly, I'll just speak.
I do try. Yeah,
you overpay.
As a commissioner, I always try to overpay. I've had people
and I'm not just fucking eating Jim out of your ass.
No, you're too nice.
But I was like, I'll give you an extra third for saying whatever it is, But
no.
It's
so. With that said, what did you guys think of that Ioannidis trade?
I think,
regardless of how it turned out.
So I didn't think it was as bad though, because B-Rap's a proven user in this league. As you saw, he went and made. I mean, the pick is like 19 or 20, or he made the playoffs. Right. So it's not. I think we knew with that division and how very average it is. With Boone being your best player, is very, very below average division. I don't think it was as bad, especially the 98 strength plays into animations more than anything.
Oh yeah.
And 98 strength is nuts. Would I have done the trade? Absolutely not, because my rule number 1 of Madden franchises is you never trade your first round pick ever.
Man.
I traded both my first and my second year pick.
But you
right.
at least did it.
On that?
You at least traded for younger people though. If you're trading for like a 30-year-old, then it's like a 30-year-old 95 overall. It's like, great, you get him for 2 seasons, but you at least traded for 24, 25-year-olds that are going to be, they'll dev into 90s for you soon. So
yeah.
Well, the shit is that I see what Jack's doing, and it's like I can't move out of the way. We're going right towards the iceberg.
Yeah, Van, that's been Jack since Madden 17.
I know. I just wish we could go down the same route every season. You
could easily go be like, oh, Josiah Scott, 62 overall corner, 21 years old. I'll give you whatever for him. Jack he targets his people and goes and gets them. We could all do it first and be like, hey, what's Jack giving you for this guy? I'll give you whatever, but we just don't. So
yeah,
he's smart.
He just does it, and nobody else goes after the guys like he does. And I thought the Bref thing was fine because Bref's decent. But in the end, it's still, you're giving Jack first round picks, which he's going to turn into better than what you are.
Right. That's a great point, Brian. Yeah. That's exactly what I meant to say. I don't give a shit who it is. If you're loading Jack with first rounders, I'm going to get miffed.
Yeah, I kind of hate you if you're doing that. So
So I don't give a shit whether it's a good trade or not.
There definitely is. Would you guys like to see the committee be more strict? Not even on the Jack trades, but on trades in general. I don't like the idea of me telling you how to build your team though, because I have a play style how I build my team.
The resources, Nick. The resources that it takes. Yeah, don't tell. Yeah,
just tell Jack.
Yeah, just tell Jack and just tell Brackett.
Yeah.
Well, Brackett's a lost cause.
Okay, so Dobbins is going to go for a 4th.
Dobbins. That was a whole mishap there. Oof, we won't even.
Right, that's a monkey. That's a monkey fucking a football, is what it is.
I've been trying to convince him over and over again. Do not trade Dobbins. Whatever you do, do not trade.
I know, dude. Like seriously, he's a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, whatever. And who's he got behind him? Mark Ingram?
Yeah, I think he was going to swap him. I think NWS made it sound like it was going to be a swap for one of his running backs. I don't know if it was Hunt or Chubb. But
Do you know what? Somebody got the bracket early on the DMs.
That's what it sounded like, but who knows?
Yeah.
With you never know. I've always wanted the trade talks are fun, especially because they are behind the scenes, and you don't really know what's being said or what's being offered. So when you see the trade pop up, everyone's like, "Oh, I would have beat that," but it's like, well, you didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's all time.
But honestly, to answer the question, I love the way it is.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because that's always a hot debate. So
no, I love the way it is. I know there's going to be debate on the other side, but when you realistically think about it from a staff perspective, it's a good way to do it.
I like it. I just wish people wouldn't be so dumb. That's fine.
And that's as we get people here longer. We have like 26 users who are not going anywhere. They're all locked in, maybe more, 27, 20, whatever. But as people are here longer and they kind of see like Sean White, for example. Sean used to always trade his first round pick, and I'd be like, Sean, no offense, you kind of only win 4 to 6 games a year. Maybe we should keep that first. And and he's a guy who's learned, I'm not trading my first for anything. I'm keeping my first because and that's kind of how it goes. If you've been here long enough to see what happens with your first round pick, you're like, oh, I could have had Taj Beverly, or oh, I could have had, it's like, oh, okay, maybe I should have kept it. So,
well, exactly. Look at what happened with Rob. How he's learned. He's not trading it away. Rob is good at swapping
his first for another decently high first. He uses that crazy high value that everyone associates with Rob, but then comes away with still getting number 6 and Rob does a good job, but
he does. Yeah, Rob now he lives for that, and I love it. That's how he's going to play the game that way, and he does. There's very few trades where I'm like, all right, Rob got screwed on that deal.
Yeah.
If we don't get to the scouting combine soon, he's going to eat a hole in his drywall.
We'll get there. Hopefully it's only 10 o'clock. We might get him tonight. Who knows? I know Riot's asleep, but and Pride. Regan tagging people for timelessness is pretty comical. Okay, anyway, moving on. Number 5. We got 2 to go here. So we're going back to gameplay here. Oh, we lost Ace. Okay, no, he's back. Ace is helping produce. Number 5. So the XCFL gameplay style, with our, you have to stay in your zones, you have to strafe in coverage, no user picks. What do you guys feel is the most important defensive position to have a stud at on your team throughout the cycle? Who do we start? I think we start with Van this time.
Oh, yep. This is so far. This is easy, and I think B might actually agree here. If you're a user DT power rusher up the middle there, I think that the absolute pressure you can get with one punch down on the freaking stick, be right in the quarterback's face. If you can get 1 or 2 guys on the line and switch off of those guys depending on who he's double teaming, I think right now that is the position to have.
So I was going to agree with you. I actually I thought about this, and then I kind of went back to what happened in my most recent games, and I think it's an elite corner. As much as I even said to you when we were talking earlier, Cameron Jordan lit me up. I also got locked down by Marshawn Lattimore. I couldn't get DJ Moore open. He made a bunch of plays, and I think the ability to have an elite corner and take away somebody's number 1 receiver with without having to even think about it is even bigger, because you got to be able to pass to win in this league. No offense to Pride, but I'm going to take this moment to, guy runs the ball 100 times a game, but hasn't won a Super Bowl because it's just not conducive for winning in this league. And, you got to be able to throw it. And if you got a guy that can lock the other team's number 1 down, then, you got a chance to, a really good chance to win a Super Bowl and get there.
I will say that's one. I've never had good corners. This is my first team with older good corners, and to not even have to think about it really when you go man coverage or zone, certain zones, and they're going to make those breaks for you is huge, because I've always been huge on a middle linebacker being the most important, or a safety for me. But if you're using, it's an interesting debate, because you're going to see people pick at every single level. Some people want the safety, some people want the linebacker, some people want the pass rusher. And I really don't know what the right answer is this cycle, because we've seen, like Brian said, we've seen elite pass rushers just take over games where they throw the offensive lineman 4 yards in the backfield and just, I don't know. but Brian says corner, Van says defensive tackle. It'll be interesting to see what kind of happens over these next couple of seasons and where, who are we going to see go early on in the draft? Is it going to be the elite fast corner, or is it going to be the superstar power rusher? I don't know.
I think even more so than defense tackle. Sorry, Van. I'm just is defensive end, because I have Derek Brown. He has really high strength and really good power rush, and he would just but he was always getting double teamed. And but Cameron Jordan one-on-one with my tackle, it was just a joke. It was just a sick joke watching him get thrown at my quarterback every play.
Especially guys with the high acceleration off the edge, because once they get around the guy, they come flying in. And you're getting the throw out of sack animation every single time at least. So the Montez Sweats, the Brian Burnses, those guys, it's a whole other story. Van, what were you going to say?
I think Brian made a good point. Like, you can have one good guy and he can be useless because he can get double teamed. The reason why I made the trade for Short, because I had two.
Yeah, so Kenny Clark
so what I can do is I can switch up. I think it's a good point to think, edge rushers are good, defensive tackles are good. But what I have noticed is power is way, way more, it's better than speed now.
They get through quicker, I think, and you have a chance to go, because those swim moves and the spin moves can sometimes take a little bit of time to develop.
They take forever. Even the club takes lots. I think the punch, the chest punch, you could just knock the guy 5 yards in the backfield.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm still going to go with an elite speed middle linebacker or a stud safety as the most important, just because how much you could take advantage of the middle of the field in this game, whether it's drag routes, slants, posts, digs, whatever it is. I just like having somebody I can put out there and don't have to user him, and he's going to be in the somewhat of the right spot, and at least be able to get a hand on the football. So for me, it's the Derwin James, it's the Riley Kane or the Ja'Cory Medlins, those superstar fast middle linebackers that are basically safeties. But it's interesting how everybody has something different they value, though, and that's what's cool about it. So,
and coverages have been really nerfed in the linebackers if you looked at it. Right, so you're looking a good coverage linebacker now is 70 zone.
Yeah,
unless you're with a couple of the elite guys, it doesn't matter. So when you look at the draft, it's going to take a while to even build up that guy in the middle, like you said, to leave him alone without using him.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, well,
sure.
It's like you said, XFL playstyle is a whole different monster than even a lot of the other sim leagues out there. So let's go ahead and move to number 6. So we just finished season 39. We haven't drafted. We haven't seen off-season transactions. We haven't nothing. So right now, if you had to pick, who is the season 40 Super Bowl champion? Let's start with Brian this time.
Oh God!
And you can't pick yourself. We'll just throw that.
So
out
there. I thought about it honestly, but
I like your odds. I mean, I do.
The disaster of a finish this season, though, I don't know about it.
I don't know that I was going to pick that. But...
I'm not going to do anything to Van here like Regan would. I do. But you know what? I'm gonna go. I think it's you, Nick. I think. I mean, that obviously what happened this playoffs was tough, and you were right there though, and I think you got the team right now to win. You could win a couple, or hey, you could end up with that division. Not getting out. But I think with how good Herbert was, as long as you don't trade him, which I think you're a nut job if you do, then you have the defense. You have Joey Bosa, Elvin Ingram might be able to give you another year, maybe. You got the squad to do it, in my opinion. So you'd be my pick. But if it isn't you, then it's going to be Jack. It's one of the two, in my opinion. I think Jack, with another year under his belt, and with how the college football season isn't as intense as it was, you're going to win.
He's got interns that do all his work anyways now, so he's good. Van, what about you?
Oh boy, Brian put me in a spot. Without tossing your salad, I'm going to pick you too.
Okay,
for a couple of reasons. I think you're going to trade Bosa to move up in this draft to get your receiver,
which is dumb.
I think you're gonna, but I think he's gonna get his 4.3, 4.29 guy, and he's gonna be in that offense. So he's gonna keep Herbert. So with that reason, I can kind of see the tea leaves there. I'm gonna go with him there. And Brian, you might want to cover your ears. I'm going with Prince on the NFC side.
Oh my God, bite me.
No,
That I was telling JMO because JMO's been saying, how competitive the NFC South is going to be, and I was like, dude, I think Brian wins this division like every single season except for like this one. I really don't think it's going to be as competitive as people think it is. I think JMO's a non-factor anymore. Let's just throw that one out there.
He was not what I thought was going to be this fight.
I was really hoping with the Bucks, there's at least season 1 would be a double-digit win team, and then JMO knows I love him, but obviously, but like 5 wins? Like that's supposed to be one of the most stacked offenses.
He beat me.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a good user, but I think this Madden for his play style is not good because he's another one, chuck and pray type thing, and that is not the way to win this cycle. So,
when Brady retires, he's screwed.
Yeah, we'll see what he ends up with. For me, I think it's easier to pick somebody coming out of the NFC as a Super Bowl champion because I think there's only a few guys that could come out of there. I didn't think Diesel would be one of them. That's for sure.
No. But
I just think the AFC playoff run, you have to go. Tosh. We know Tosh is going to win double-digit games. He needs to improve that defense because as busy as he was, it's still the Kansas City Chiefs. You had Tyreek Hill, you had Mecole Hardman, who, I mean, every other league you're seeing the Chiefs are undefeated or 14-2, whatever it is.
It doesn't fit his style at all.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, when you have those two, when you pick that team, you've picked your style. And in this Madden, with how play action crossers and stuff works, I mean that's I think, but he needs the defense was not there for him. That's what he's always been, the defensive team. So we'll see how it'll be a big off season for him. So that'll be. But I think with the AFC, I don't think it'll be me. I don't think Kylo's ready yet. That Raiders team is good and Kylo's good, but I think the playoffs. I think just certain his DBs are not very good.
And in this Madden, it's almost impossible to win with a shitty defense.
It definitely makes it tough. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with what VPD did.
I mean, I have a terrible defense too, and it showed down the stretch. It really showed.
Yours is really young, but hopefully that works out for you. You're kind of building.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. So I don't. It's not going to be me. I'll every single person in the survivor pool that filled out the bracket picked the Chargers to win it all, and I let every single person down. So
there were circumstances.
He played good, but we'll go ahead and I don't know. I think I'm going to go Chiefs. I think Tosh bounces back and plays a little angry and I got lucky.
He will. He's going to pretend not to care, though, while he does.
Yeah, for sure. And he'll downplay it. Oh, my team didn't get any better this offseason. I'm screwed. And it's like, okay.
Regression killed me.
14-2, whatever. We don't want to hear it.
Love him.
But I think he does. And I don't think, I went 6-0 in my division with a forced win against Tasha in the last week. And I don't think that happens again. It's just too tough to inside and out. But
Nick, honestly, I was really surprised on how you got into the gates, like especially with Herbert. I remember I was watching that game, the first game you had with Herbert with wings, and he was hitting the hot dog vendor in the freaking
he figured it out pretty quick. So
I was not expecting that, so that was a pretty good turn.
The Goodwin trade was huge. That I literally, in the DM to Grizz, I was like, I literally just need Goodwin for 1 year to help develop Herbert. Like that's all I need, and it ended up working out, and he's still playable this year. So who knows what happens there? But it'll be a fun one. I think, like Van said, the first 2 seasons of a cycle are so much fun because anybody can pop up a win. I mean, we saw good users with bad teams, and then we saw new users with pretty decent teams, and I don't know. You saw a lot of guys beat players that you would like. Who would have thought Heath would take out Wings or who he beat? Jack and Wings in the same team or something? Or
maybe next week we should go by, the biggest upsets of the year.
Yeah, there were some good ones, which I like though. I want to see that because parity is what keeps the league alive, and pretty quickly parity kind of gets thrown out the window.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I'm hoping. We were talking about it after a broadcast. I think it was me, Ace, and Kylo, where this is the Madden where you will see the most parity. I think with just how player ratings I think make a little difference. Where if you have I'm hoping that's what we see at least right now, but. Who knows? We get 8 seasons in, and you never know what's going to happen. So, but at this pace, we barely will get 4 in. Who knows?
All right.
Yeah, we got to speed it up.
Let's wrap this thing up and go watch Madden football.
Any last comments, or what do we got?
Well, oh, go ahead, Brad.
You go, man. Go.
We're gonna keep going every week, guys. Yep. This is fun, man. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, send some questions in, whatever you want us to. We'll debate whatever, and make this a weekly thing, and a little less than, a little more low key than the Regan Wings Drew fiasco. But
and I won't be chewing gum in the background like Regan was, where you could just hear every single thing.
Oh my God.
But yeah, we'll record this every Monday night. Hopefully, be consistent with that. Get it out Tuesday morning, and hopefully we'll get some feedback and you guys enjoy it, and we'll get some good topics. But guys, thanks for tuning in. This is the first episode of the Vane and Brian Show with me as the host. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening, guys, and the XCFL. Let's get going in this offseason, baby.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.